You might pick up an old assignment or writing of yours, look at the story you wrote and go, "Ugh, what was I thinking?" Well, our next guest did just that, but thought the opposite. Stephen Kozan of Harrisburg joins us for an author spotlight. His book, Journal of a Lifetime, was sparked by his own writings from more than 20 years ago. 20 years ago, and now you have a book.
That's true. That is true.
Well, welcome. We're celebrating that 20-year effort today. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Stephen.
Well, I grew up in Harrisburg in a little town called Bressler, and I've loved writing my entire life. I have a business that I started in 2000 as my regular job, and then from there I just wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote stories. So that's basically what I always like to do, is write.
I think what's really neat is you brought actually the original
Yes.
here, which you said, looking back, it wasn't so great. You were 12 years old.
I was 12 years
right?
old, yes.
So what sparked the writing?
Just one day I was at a friend's house. We kind of have a sleepover, and I couldn't sleep, and I decided I want to write a story. So I got on an old typewriter, which most kids don't know what that is nowadays. And I wrote this story. It's about 13 pages long, and it was called My Life by Raymond DeLocke. And it went into a box in the basement, and about 20 some years later I found it after my wife said, "Hey, clean out the basement," and I found it. So I decided, hey, I want to break it down and start over from scratch and get my friend Tony Malfair on board to illustrate the book.
And so now you do have it in book form. What really is the story about?
It's about a 12-year-old boy named Raymond Locke, and he was raised by his grandfather. He grew up without parents, and his grandfather handed him a blank journal, and he wanted Raymond to document his life as he grew from a 12-year-old into an adult. And so what I'm finding out, it's more for the adult reader. It's a nostalgic view for them to go back as a 12-year-old and see how their life maybe was. And for the child reader, they get to see how Raymond grows from a 12-year-old into an adult. And that's sort of what I tell kids when I talk to them. So
that is really neat, because you go to a lot of schools
Yes.
and you're encouraging other youth to
Yes.
write.
Yep. This May and June I visited 4 schools and 1 early learning center. And basically my main focus to them was to encourage writing, illustrating, and how to publish. It wasn't so much talking about the book itself, but it was encouraging them that if they had a story that they wrote at 10 or 12, hang on to that story, because you never know, 15, 20 years later, you may write your own book and you can do it yourself as a self-publisher. So that was my main, marketing point to them when I visited the schools.
And then quickly, I want to point out that for you, this is almost therapy for you. It's very therapeutic.
Yes. Unfortunately, in 2003, I developed a rare illness called mal-de-debarkment syndrome. It's a balance disorder where a lot of people from cruises get it. When you get your land legs back, you feel like the ground's still moving like a trampoline.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for me, that never went away. So it's been 11, 12 years, and if 24 hours a day, the ground moves like a trampoline. So it's been very debilitating. We have an organization, mddsfoundation.org, that helps people like me around, and writing has actually helped me cope with the illness, just by distraction mainly. So my passion is writing, but when I sit down, I kind of get out of the mold of that I'm rocking.
Well, I think that's a good lesson for other people too.
Yes.
Hey, it was great to have you here on the show today. We look forward to more work that you may be doing and bringing to us here at Good Day PA.
Thank you so much for having me.
Best wishes to you, Stephen.